Hey, welcome back to Susan Lynn Psychic Medium. Today we're going to talk about free will. Do we have free will? When do we get to use our free will? And when do we not get to use our free will? And that is in relation to your spirit guides, right? So what I want to talk about is why sometimes the guides will tell you. Okay, some of you say, I don't hear the guides. So I'm going to phrase this a different way. Okay, let's put it this way. Why would sometimes the guides direct you through some, like, oh, you just have this idea? I had an idea to go to the flower shop. And when I went to the flower shop, I walked past this store that was vacant. And then I had this idea, I always wanted to have a jewelry store. So I decided to go in and ask him about the price to rent it, and I rented it, and this is how I started my jewelry store, right? So how do they direct you? Why do sometimes they direct you and other times they don't? Okay, so I'll give you some examples. So for instance, my guides are going to make an appearance as usual. I was looking at one point, I was looking for a house to buy. And I went to this house and I thought, this is the house for me. It wasn't in the right town, but it was inexpensive. It was the right size, and it had this big backyard. And it was in a quiet neighborhood. Okay, so it ticked all the things that I wanted, except for it was in the wrong town. And I was in the backyard, and you know how we do, right? I'm already seeing myself there. My dog is in the backyard in my brain. I'm visualizing it all. I'm living in this house, right? And my guides clearly said in a very heavy energy, now I'll get to that in a minute, but they said in a very heavy voice, they said, no. Now, if you watch any of my other videos, you know that I don't mind somebody saying no if they explain why. I just don't like being told no and not having any explanation for it, right? So they said no. And I'm like, well, why not? So I'm like the kid, like, why? So I'm like, why not? It's got this. And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, but why not? And they're like, not for you, which really cracked me up because they only say, not for you when they're serious. Like literally, like you're telling a child to not touch the stove. That's the energy. It was like, stop asking questions. This is not the house for you. For Christ's sake, stop badgering me. Like it was hilarious, right? But I to this day, I'm still puzzled, right? About why not for me, right? Now there was this time when I went in there, because I went in there twice to look at it. I went in there and I was fine, and then this energy came in that was like an axe murderer ghost, and I was like, I have to get out of here, and I have to get out of here right now. So but ghosts, we can make them leave, so that wasn't really a deal breaker for me. So then you take that situation where they were very clear. Literally slapped my hand. No, you're not going to get this house. Okay, now go to the next house, and I put in, and it's it's in the right location, but it's crazy. It's a fixer-upper beyond belief. Like my inspector goes, are you going to tear it down and rebuild? I'm like, no, I'm going to fix it. And he's like, really? And this is the home inspector telling me this, right? So, but it was super cheap, and I knew the numbers could work, right? But, anyway, I asked my guides, what should I do? Crickets. Just crickets. No answer. No yes, no nothing. I went to the tarot cards, because when you can't get an answer from your guides, when you're asking for yourself, because our own emotions block their messages. Okay, so that's an important thing to know, right? That's why I just did a reading for a shaman, because she can't read for herself, right? She can read for other people, but she can't read for herself. Same thing for me. Very hard sometimes to get a clear answer from my own guides. So I went to the tarot cards. I got really confusing answers. Like really confusing. Like one time I would get, go for it. And the next time I would get, you're going to be pain and agony. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want that. I don't want that. So why is that? Why does that happen? And I'm not going to be able to answer it. There's a lot of mystery, right? We don't learn about on this planet. I guess that's part of the thing they want me to talk to you about, because that's what they just told me. We're not going to know everything. Nobody knows everything, right? But we can at least, through our communication with spirit and with our spirit guides and our angels and whoever, in our crossed over loved ones, we can surely get more clarity than we have. So that's what we're always trying to do. We're just trying to get more clarity. We may not get all the answers, but we sure as heck are going to get some clarity. Okay. So that's what they want to say. Here's the bottom line to this thing. This is so funny, and it's bigger. It's so big in my head. I see this big picture, and I'm trying to condense it down to some words. Good luck, Susan. So the thing is this, there's some, so let's talk about your soul path. Okay. So you're on your soul path. Now I personally, and usually off in the weeds, like bumping along, like, there's a perfectly good paved road right there. But I'm over here like bumping around, on the weeds, because that's just how I travel. That's how I do. So even they're happy. They're happy for you to be in the weeds, because all of those bumps are lessons. So, you're just signing up for more lessons. And you're also telling them you didn't learn your lesson, right? If you had learned your lesson, you would have turned off of the bumpy side of the road and the ditch, and you would have gotten back on the pavement. Right? So if you're still bumping along, that means that you didn't learn the lesson. You didn't learn it enough to get off back on the pavement. That's number one. Number two, sometimes they don't want to tell you because that is a test or that is a lesson. So they were telling me, basically, for Christ's sake, Susan, don't buy that house. You know what I mean? But on the other house, they were like, yeah, what do you want to do? And they're like, watching me. You're like, what is she going to do? What do you think she's going to? Probably taking bets. They probably had like one of those football things, or, like squares, or something like, oh, I've got 50 on that she buys this house. No, I've got 60 that she doesn't, who knows? Maybe my guides are gamblers. I don't know. My dad always said like the third generation up the chain were mafia. So there you go. So anyway, from Cincinnati. Mafia in Cincinnati? Really? Dad, that's the best you could come up with? You couldn't just say Brooklyn or something? You had to say Cincinnati? Anyway, that's how my family goes. Mafia from Cincinnati. So I'm sure that they're the relatives are up there running bookies. So anyway, I digress. Where was I? Oh yeah. So here's the thing. When you're in a place where you're close enough to your soul path where you're just going to be on the side bumping along, that's great. Those are lessons. So maybe the house that I was going to buy that I didn't buy, that was literally a wreck, maybe that was close enough. It was in the town. It was, I could afford it. I wasn't going to go bankrupt trying to fix it. I might not make money on the deal, right? But it was close enough that they were like, yes, she can learn some lessons here. So you see the difference, right? When you go way far off the path, they tell you, no, don't do this. This is a big mistake. And they try to help you get closer to your soul path. Okay. So they don't always want you to be on the road, because if you have what do they say about sailors? Gentle seas don't make experienced sailors, right? If you're out there and it's always beautiful weather, you're never going to be able to learn how to handle bad weather. So that's why they want us to learn lessons. But I think when we're really off the path, that's when they try to bring us back in. I hope that made sense for you some kind of way. Let me see if I asked them if you guys have any questions, if you guys want to know about things. Well, everybody still wants to know like how to contact their guides, and do you have more than one guide? And okay, I'll switch to this. So this happened this morning. Now you guys know that I have empowered my guides to talk to me about my diet and about my exercise. So I've given them carte blanche, just come in and tell me what you think. Now, of course, on other subjects, I beg them, and they like I said, they're like over there, playing video games, and they got headphones on, they're not listening. So this morning I had my protein. They're always talking about having protein. God, you don't even want to hear about this. Now they're talking about, instead of eggs, egg whites, because now I'm eating too much cholesterol. I'm like, where are they going with this? You know what I mean? Like, where are they going? So I had my protein. I thought and I ate, you guys. And so I was eating 2 eggs scrambled, and they kept telling me, only eat half. You only need 1 egg. I'm like, okay. So I put 2 eggs in there. Well, this morning I made 2 eggs, and I said, all right, somehow this is what they do to you. They trick you. Somehow I only ate half, and then I put the half to the side. And I was like, why did I do that? I came in my office and I'm like, I'm kind of hungry. Why didn't I have 2 eggs? So listen, fast forward 2 hours later, I'm hungry, but it's not lunch. So I'm like, okay, well, I just need a snack, So I go in the pantry. Listen to this, you guys. I go in the pantry because I thought I saw somebody put something new in the pantry. Ritz crackers. So I go in there and I get one of these little sleeves, and I'm thinking it's a snack. And it's also carbohydrates with absolutely no nutritional value. So I get this little sleeve out and I open it up, and I hear a new voice. He sounds younger. It's a male, and he sounds younger, like maybe like in his 20s. And he's like, what is she doing? I never hear them talk to each other. I always just hear them talk to me. And I hear him go, what's she doing? And I hear the other guy going, I don't know why she's eating that. So you guys, I have new spirit guides, and they're young dudes. Their mind is gonna get blown. I mean, they're probably vegans, vegetarians, who knows? And I'm all about vegetarianism. I wish I could be one. I'm currently not eating any mammals. So I don't eat pork. I don't eat beef. I only eat chicken, and I eat fish. And then I eat some vegetables, but mostly cheese. But anyway, so these young dudes are like, what is she doing? And the other guy's like, I don't know. And then they show me this visual picture, because I think they realized that they kind of probably broke code somewhere, like they went all, like they're looking at the manual and they're like, we weren't supposed to let her hear that. Darn, we're already going to get a demerit. And so they then stopped talking to me and they started sending me pictures. So then I saw avocados on toast. I'm like, that sounds good, but I don't have any avocados. That's part of the problem, right? Is I need to have more vegetables in my house. But I just thought it was hilarious. I got to tell you guys, I got 2 new guides, and there's some young dudes that I have nothing in common with. I don't know how this is going to go down. They might have already been reassigned after that thing this morning with the Ritz crackers. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to do a really quick video to mainly tell you guys about free choice, your free will, and my 2 new guides. And I don't know that I'm just listening. They're trying to talk. When I'm talking, it's hard for them to talk, which is true for you too. So, okay, good. Here we go. So how do you get to your guides? How do you communicate with your guides? Okay. Listen, the thing is that when this first started happening, it was really hard for me to know it wasn't me, right? I mean, it's almost like you're talking to yourself. It really and truly it is. And so I would suggest that if you're talking to yourself, and that's kind of how it started, right? Because I wanted to start talking to myself better. I didn't want to talk to myself in a derogatory way anymore. I didn't want to say I was stupid or that idea was stupid, or I didn't want to talk bad about myself. So I went through this period of time where I was really monitoring my self-talk. Okay. So I was talking to myself in a encouraging way, the way I would want to be talked to, right? So Susan, that maybe wasn't the best idea you had, but you learned your lesson, and next time you're going to do better, right? Instead of, my God, you're an idiot. So when that started, guys, no, I'm really serious. When that started, when I started, my guides bring me back to task. You can tell the difference. If you really watch these videos, you can see when I go out and when I come in. You really can. So when I started talking to myself in an encouraging way, okay, and in a pep talk, I'd pep talk myself literally. Listen, I'm going to share with you guys something embarrassing, kind of. Why I'm doing this, I don't know. It's probably them. I'm going to get them back. But anyway, I just recently did this video with Whimsy, Tarot by Whimsy. She's like just phenomenal. I mean, rock star. I mean, it's basically like being on a video with a rock star. Okay. So I'm over there having to calm myself down before the video so that I don't freak the F out, and then also pep talk myself. You can do this, you can do this. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. You have to be your own best cheerleader. You have to. Nobody is in line. There's nobody in line to cheerlead you. Don't look. They're not there. You have to cheerlead yourself. Okay? So when I started the self-talk and I started talking to myself nicer, what ended up happening was, I started talking to myself more because I knew I had to be the one. It's an inside job, right? I had to be the one to talk to myself about helping myself, about growing, and about dreaming, and about accepting that dreams come true, and really being gentle with myself and being encouraging, right? So when I started having more conversations with myself, sometimes they're out loud, and that's a little bit disturbing for people around me. I haven't been arrested yet or locked up or anything, but who knows? But especially now, because I really do talk to them all day long out loud. But they started slipping it in. And I think that what ended up happening was, and I always talk about this, it's really good for you to be doing something mindless. So if you have a hobby that is just mindless, whether it's playing music or putting puzzles together or doing jewelry or photography or editing on your computer or anything or gardening is great. Anything that's mindless, walking is great. That's their opportunity to come into your head, okay? I always say it's like a freeway and everybody's doing 40, 50 miles an hour over the speed limit. And here you are trying to merge. And it's a line of traffic. You can't merge. That's them. They can't merge with your thoughts. If your thoughts are flying by so fast, they can't get inside. That's why a lot of times they'll wake you up at night, and talk to you. If they're doing that, that means you need to meditate to let them inside so they can actually give you the message. So what happened to me was I decided to paint the entire interior of my entire house by myself. I think I had a week off for some reason, and I don't know why, but I don't know. Probably they made me do it. But I'm over here, painting for hours, and I realized that, I was talking to myself, right? I was just jabbering to myself. And then I realized that I was getting thoughts in my head, be they words or just thought words, that weren't me. You know what I mean? Like I would ask a question like, Susan, why do you do this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you go over there, do this? And then I would get this thought, you should go over there, do that. And I'm like, that's not a thought I had. I didn't think about going over there at all, right? So then that's when you got to catch it. You have to catch it. And then you go, I swear, people say all the time, I had the wildest thought. And I don't know where it came from. I just had this idea. Hello, that's them. That's your guides sneaking it in, right? They're sneaking them in all the time. So catch them when they sneak them in. Catch them and then try and say and talk back. So when you do catch them saying something, you go, oh, I never thought about doing that. That's very different. I wonder if I would be successful. I wonder if I would like that. So I started doing that. I wonder if I would like that. And then I'd get like, yeah, I either may get an emotion or I get a feeling or I hear a thought or I feel something in my body and I think, yeah, I think I would like that. How do I go about doing that? And then, they may not give you that answer right then, right? They may not give you that. And you say, how do I do that? See, so that if they don't give you, back to free will, if they don't give you the answer, that means you're supposed to work a little bit on it yourself. Okay, so that's the part of the homework they want you to do. Okay, they're going to help you, but they want to see you do a little bit of that work. So people often say if you take one step towards the universe will take 20 steps towards you. All you have to do is take one little step, and then they will move mountains for you. They'll start opening doors. They'll start making people appear. They'll start making connections appear, doors appear, money appear, resources appear, opportunities appear. That's how you know you're on the right soul path. When things start happening, you do one little thing and then boom, 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 all the doors open. You're on the right path. If you do one little thing and then everything is a block, everything is too hard, you're just constantly blocked. You're in the weeds with me. Get off the weeds. Get back on the road. Look for successes. When things work out really easy, that's your indication you're on the right track. You're on the right track. So this is already 21 minutes. I hope this was interesting. Right now they're telling me to put some vegetables on these. Is that what you do with these? Because I just eat them. But they're like, you could put vegetables, those things, vegetables. But anyway, I'm going to go have some. I'm so happy that you joined me today. If you want to hear more talks about this, please subscribe. Please hit the bell. That way you'll be notified. If you have friends that are into metaphysical things or, the other thing that we talk about, which is politics, please suggest that they check me out. And hopefully they'll join up and join our community. And I'm wishing you guys all the best. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and go eat some vegetables.